I'm sitting here in front of my fire, and it's so pretty. Oh, and there goes Greta. I just wanted to sit and take it in. Sorry for the snap, crackle, and popping, but that's what fires do. So, I was thinking a little more. I've been thinking a lot more about grieving and the whole grieving process, and it's such a tender subject, and yet, none of us will escape it. So I put these YouTube videos out there. I have a website, juliewhitlatch.com, and I have a pretty active Facebook page or account or whatever it is. And I put this stuff out there, and I never know, I rarely know if people are getting anything from it, if it has worth to them. And I guess the thing is, what happens to me is I get this thing I call incoming, and I just get this flood of thoughts and flood of words, and it has to come out, so it has to go somewhere. So it lands either on YouTube, as this one is, or on my website, juliewhitlatch.com, or lately on Facebook. I've been doing some blabbing. So today, what just keeps swirling around in my mind is a little bit more about grieving. And I know that's, again, not a happy subject, and yet it's something we all will face. And also, I guess I need to clarify, in everything I say and everything I do in all these forms of media, I speak only from my opinion and my life experience. That's all I know. That's all I know. I also have had some very extraordinary things happen to me. Very, very extraordinary things. In our household, first of all, Bill called me Pookie. It was one of many, many nicknames, but he one of the last ones that really, really stuck for years and years was Pookie. And one of the things that was heard in our household over and over was some event would happen, and even in Bill's brilliance and his extraordinary mind, he couldn't explain. They were things, not so much of this world maybe or something. They were just extraordinary things that he couldn't explain. And so I would tell him, I'd tell him, something that had happened to me. And then sometimes he would just notice things and he would tell me, but he would always follow it and kind of qualify it by, I know Pookie, but don't tell anybody because they'll think you're crazy. And he was protecting me. He didn't, well, first of all, our lives were so very private. And that might be hard for some of you who didn't know us then to imagine, because I seem to be out there a lot nowadays. But we were so private. He never wanted any attention, and neither did I. We were so happy sequestered in our house here, our house on the hill, where it's almost always sunny and bright. We were so happy in our little world, and our world was just that. We did many, many grand things, but we always came home. We always wanted to be home here together, just he and I. A girlfriend of mine always says, and for years she said this while Bill was still alive. She always said that, our friendship basically ended at the end of the driveway, because once I was home, it was just Bill and I. It was just Bill and I. And that was, it was grand. It was just grand. I say he was my knight in smiling armor, because he was. Anyway, back to, the happy subject of grieving. This is what I think. I think it's very easy for me to tell what worked for me. It's very easy because, the proof's in the pudding. And I am, for those who didn't know me, you cannot know what a change that has come over me. You can't know that. And even those who knew me, have known me for years. My big mission was, and this is going to sound so odd, I think, to many people, but my big mission was, because I knew in that first year, I knew I was going to die. I knew I just wouldn't wake up one morning. I knew it. It's the only, it's the one comforting, thought I had, because I knew I'd be with Bill then. And so my big goal was, there were several things. The biggest thing was I could not allow, there goes Greta again, I could not allow the possibility of anybody to think that they should have done something for me and then I wouldn't have died. I needed everybody to know that I was doing fine. I was doing the best I could, and never, let me just be very, very clear here, never, ever, ever suicide. I never, not even a wisp of a thought of suicide. I just simply thought I would not wake up. That's it. I just thought I wouldn't wake up. And I have to say, I was getting just a little peeved, when it was nearing the 1-year anniversary and I was still waking up. I'd been in these deep negotiations with the big guy and, kind of didn't know what else I was supposed to do. It's like, oh, what's a girl have to do to die around here? Quite literally, I'm a very, upfront person. I just kind of, and Bill left me with that. I think we swapped enough DNA throughout the years or something that he left me with some of his very best traits that I did not have prior to his death. So the grieving process, boy, I just keep, I'm kind of tired. I just kind of keep, swinging low and wide with this topic. So I'm sorry about that. I guess the thing I would say to everybody is do it your own way. Just do it your own way. But the other thing is be purposeful with your feelings. What you feel. This might sound odd. I remember a couple times I would be doing well. I'd maybe have a few days of not crying. And then it would just hit me, just hit me hard. And I could hear Bill say, "Oh, Pookie, you were doing so good. You were doing so good. Now what's the deal? What's the deal?" And it made me think and examine. And I really did. I thought, why am I crying? What has me in a pile now? I say I gave in to grieving and I let grieving process me, and that's the truth. However, it was always, oh, Greta's chewing on a bone, sorry about that. It was always very, very purposeful. What I was feeling, I examined, I thought about it. As in life, when events happen and you react, think about it, and that's what I did. So when I say I just gave in, like I just gave in a pile to grieving, that's not 100% true. I gave in to my feelings, but I gave great, great thought to what I was feeling when I was feeling it. And that's something I think I've not been clear on. And that's also probably what made it so hard because, I really gave thought to those feelings. Oh, I had to stop for a minute because Greta was just munching so hard I could hardly hear myself think. Anyway, so another thing I wanted to just mention is when you're in that deep dark tunnel of grieving and your feelings are so raw and exposed. I remember not being angry because I just don't really get angry, but I remember being frustrated with people's comments. I remember thinking, oh, what a stupid thing to say, and geez. But, in the truth of the matter, I said some really stupid things too, really, really stupid things. And I think that's the thing. You just have to know everybody's doing their best. Dumb things are going to be said. They're not out of that people don't care. It's not because they don't care. It's because they don't know what to say. And I know, or maybe they don't say anything, and then you can get frustrated about that because they don't bring up the topic. One thing I will tell you that was very helpful for me, and again, this is just my method, when people would be brave enough to come to the house, and it was usually one-on-one because I just couldn't take much more than that. They didn't know what to say. They didn't know if they should talk about Bill or not. And you can ask anyone. People would come in the door, and the first thing I would say to them is, we can talk about absolutely anything you want to talk about as long as it has to do with Bill. And that's what I meant. And I think that gave them, first of all, it gave them a big clue that it was okay to talk about Bill. And second of all, it brought the subject up, because that's what they were here for. That's really what they were here for. Other people are trying to process their grief too. Other people are too. And I felt like that has been my job, is to help people through the grieving process too, and back to my job. I remember telling my little aunts here, who were here from Portland right after Bill died, that I wanted to be a good widow. I wanted to be a good widow. Didn't really know what that was, but I wanted to be a good widow. And much of that was just ensuring that people knew I was going to be okay. That was my biggest thing. I needed them to know I was going to be okay. I didn't tell them I wanted to die and knew I was going to die any minute. I didn't tell them that because, gosh, they'd already gone through, they were going through the mourning of Bill. And I couldn't, I held back that information because I thought it would just be too much for them to take. And yet at the same time, I was trying so hard, in a very weird way, now that I think about it, to prepare them to know that when I died, any minute, when I died, it was all good. It was all good. It was what was supposed to be. Well, I was wrong. I wasn't supposed to die. Yeah, I'm going to die, but not yet. I guess that's what I'd say, not yet. And so sometimes, when you're wishing for something or praying for something, like I did for nearly a year, and it doesn't happen, sometimes you maybe don't know what's best. Sometimes there's a different plan. And Bill used to say, and one of the things he said a lot was, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. And that one wish that I would be gone and done and be with Bill didn't come true. And, now I'm thankful. I can say I'm thankful. And that's another thing I just wanted to touch on. Very soon, well, I don't know, nearing a year after Bill died, somebody who came into my life in a very unusual way, who influenced my writing in a pretty big way, he said to me something like this, something like, when you get over it, meaning Bill, when you get over, Bill's death. And I was so angry. And the rest of his comment was, it was something like, well, had Bill not died, we would not be having this conversation. Well, that put me over the top. I thought, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. There will never, ever, ever be something good that comes from Bill's death. It just didn't seem right. How could something good come from such a tragedy? Oh, and I was angry. There was a time I was a wee bit angry, I must say. And now I've realized there is good. There is good. And only for me, when you can get to that point, and I've told other widows this, I've told them that one day they will find goodness, and there will be goodness that comes after that biggest tragedy of your life. There will be goodness that comes from that. And they look at me like I'm crazy, and I know the look because I've given the look. I felt the same thing. But I'm here to tell you today, how better can I honor Bill than to live my life in a big way? How better can I honor him? And it's a horrible thing to think, but had he not died, there's no way, no how I'd be writing. No way. But it's my life mission, and Bill's day came at 58 years, 8 months, 8 days. His day came, and nothing could change that. So it's only my choice to, live my life from this point on. If I wait to a new day, it's my choice of what I make of that life. And I will not feel guilty about having a joyous day. I will not. I've felt that early on. I'd feel a little bit of happiness, and I think, oh, how can I do that? How can I do that? Well, I can do that because that honors the joy of Bill. And that's me embracing life. And for widows out there, I know you likely cannot believe that this could ever happen to you, where you could be filled with joy again and you could live your life. not having them be in a shrine, honoring him that way, but in living your life to the fullest, because you have life, because you have life. And also that one day you'll come to know there will be lovely things and wonderful things happen to you. And that's okay. That's okay. In fact, it's wonderful. It's how it should be. So, now I'm kind of getting hot, kind of having a hot flash. I'm going to need to move, but wanted to share this fire, wanted to share those thoughts. And again, I put this stuff out. I don't know where it lands, if it ever lands. I have this funny idea, you guys. This thought just keeps coming to me that I'm building this foundation, and this foundation is this YouTube channel, the foundation is my website, the foundation is Facebook, and the foundation is a little book called Traveling Home to Happiness. And it's like these 4 legs of a table or a stool. It's like these 4 legs holding up this foundation, and I don't know what they're holding up. I don't know what that's about, but I just keep feeling this funny thing that always lands right back there. It just lands right back there, and I don't know what it means. I don't know. Maybe one day I will, maybe one day I won't. But if I live to wake to a new day, maybe I will. So if I haven't told you lately, I love you. And a new friend of mine from Facebook and I were just private messengering, I think is what it's called. And she was saying how she loved these. We have a lot of similar songs that we like, and she loved the Van Morrison songs, and he has this song, Have I Told You Lately That I Love You? And I just love that song. And whenever I say that, Have I Told You Lately I Love You, I'm thinking of that song, and I'm probably kind of humming it, and you just can't hear it. So, and oh boy, let's hope I don't end up singing that one on YouTube, because you know me, I love to sing, and I'm not so good. So, haven't told you lately, I love you, and thank you for coming by. I just so appreciate anybody willing to take the time to listen, and I hope someday somehow somebody takes a wee bit of thought from it that can help them. Bye-bye.